Aloha and welcome. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about the Simple Network Management Protocol, or SNMP. So SNMP, it's been around for a while. We're currently in version 3. The first two versions, like many things that are out there on the internet, the first two versions weren't that secure. So SNMP version 3, which we use now, this is the secure version. So a little bit about this. What is SNMP? Well, SNMP, it's a network protocol for managing and monitoring your network devices. So you've got, let's say you've got a bunch of things that are out on the internet, whether it's computers, routers, switches, things like that. Each one of those devices you want to keep an eye on, make sure that they're working, well, and that they don't have any problems or any breaches or anything like that. So you want to be able to monitor these. So what do we use to monitor it? Well, that would be SNMP. So SNMP, it's a network protocol, and a protocol is simply a set of rules. So it's a set of rules for monitoring and managing network devices in your IP network. So this operates at layer 7, which is the application layer protocol, and it uses UDP ports 161 and 162. So again, we talk about UDP versus TCP. TCP is guaranteed transmission, essentially. UDP is something that you're going to use when you're really wanting it to be low latency and you want efficiency and speed here. And that's valued more so than the guaranteed transmission. So that's why we're using UDP ports, but we're using UDP 161, 162. So the elements of SNMP, because you're probably wondering what does SNMP look like? Well, in here you've got two basic levels. You've got the manager, which is going to be the device that is up here. It's taking care of everything. It's keeping an eye on everybody. And then you've got the actual managed devices or network elements. So those network elements are going to be running this thing called an SNMP agent. And the agent is just a piece of software that's going to run. It's going to maintain the information on the network element. So it's going to have all the information on the traffic and things like that, things that the manager is wanting to keep track of. So whenever it gets to the point where it wants to send an alert message up to the manager, it's going to use what we call an SNMP trap. So it'll send a trap up to the manager, and the manager can also solicit information from one of these SNMP agents on the managed devices as well. So that's essentially what this is. Now let's talk a little bit about the security aspects. So SNMP version 3 is the latest version, as I mentioned before. It supports authentication, encryption, and integrity. We've got 3 different security levels that we can set on here. So the lowest level of security, which is the weakest, is going to be NoAuthNoPriv, and that means no authentication and no privacy. So in this type of situation where we're using this, we're wanting to use this only on a closed, secure network, one that we can absolutely trust. Otherwise, anybody's going to be able to get a hold of these messages. So this is the least amount of security. Only use it in a closed, secure network. The next level is going to be AuthNoPriv, and that's authentication and no privacy. So in this one, we're going to be authenticating it, but we're not actually going to have any type of encryption going on here. So for this one, it's going to use, let's see, it's going to support HMAC MD5 and HMAC SHA for the authentication and the integrity. But again, we're not going to be doing the encryption. So the strictest level we've got is called AuthPriv, and that's going to be authentication and privacy. So in this one, we're going to be authenticating and encrypting it during the transmission, and we're going to use, just like with AuthNoPriv, we're going to be using HMAC MD5 and HMAC SHA for the authentication and the integrity, and we're going to use DES for the privacy, which is the encryption part. The last thing we're going to talk about here is hardening network devices. Hardening network devices, when we talk about hardening something, we're talking about actually locking it down. We're talking about making it harder for people to break into it or to somehow, get in and do bad things. So hardening is this device, hardening a device is the process of going ahead and disabling the unused services that you have on there and making it hard for people to, break in or find a way in. So when you get something like, let's say it's a firewall, you may have certain rules that are turned on by default, like HTTP, allow HTTP, people go to the web. So you're allowing people to do that by default. But what if you're in a network where that's not valid? So you want to make sure that you turn off all those default things that are on there. Another thing that is really key in hardening devices is and this is an absolute, change the default password and user admin if you can. That is one of the biggest ways of breaking into devices out there. If you go and look in your neighborhood at all the different devices, Wi-Fi devices that are out there, if they tell you like Netgear or something like that, you can do a simple Google search on default password and username for, that kind of thing. And it's surprising how often people leave the default credentials in there. So hardening devices, it's a process of disabling those unused services, changing your default password and username if you can. Go in there and make sure that you've got all the updates on it and everything else. There's actual guides that are published for different devices like firewalls and routers and switches and things like that. There are hardening guidelines to go by, and the government publishes one for anybody who's doing things like Department of Defense work. They require that you harden your devices as well. So you'll hear this a lot in security hardening, devices. So that's what we're referring to. We're referring to that process of making it harder for people to gain access into our systems. So that's it for the lesson. I will see you in the next one. Aloha.